The bright lights of the command center reflected off Commander Lisa Martinez's tired face as she stared at the massive display screen. The coffee in her hand had gone cold hours ago, but she barely noticed. Her attention was fixed on the strange objects that had just appeared near Jupiter's orbit. "Can someone explain what I'm looking at?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. The space monitoring station had never seen anything like this before. "Commander, these objects just appeared out of nowhere," said Officer Kevin Butler, his fingers flying over the control panel. "They're massive. Each one is about the size of a small moon. We've counted 7 of them so far." Lisa put down her coffee cup and leaned forward. After 15 years in Earth's Space Defense Force, she thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. "Get me a closer look," she ordered. The screen zoomed in on one of the objects, revealing a metallic surface covered in strange patterns. It definitely wasn't natural. These were ships. The room fell silent as everyone realized what they were seeing. Humanity's first contact with alien life wasn't going to be peaceful. "Ma'am," called out Communications Officer Amy White, her voice shaking slightly. "We're receiving a transmission. It's not in any language we know." "Put it through the universal translator," Lisa commanded. They had developed the translator using artificial intelligence, hoping they would never actually need it. Today, that hope died. The translator crackled to life, and a deep, harsh voice filled the command center. "This is Supreme Commander Zextal of the Drachnid Empire. Your primitive species will surrender immediately or face extinction. You have 1 Earth rotation to comply." Lisa's jaw tightened. "Send alerts to all Earth defense stations. Wake up every military leader on the planet. We are now at war." The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. In Washington, London, Beijing, and every other major city, military commanders gathered for emergency meetings. The United Nations called an immediate session. Meanwhile, at the Colorado Space Weapons Facility, John Kelly was about to make a discovery that would change everything. The young weapons engineer had been studying the sensor readings from the alien ships nonstop. "This can't be right," he muttered, running the analysis again. He grabbed his phone and called the command center. "Commander Martinez, this is John Kelly from Weapons Development. I found something about their shields. They're using a frequency-based energy field, but there's a gap in their coverage. Our regular weapons won't work, but if we modify our pulse cannons to fire at exactly 147.8 terahertz. Lisa's eyes widened as she listened. "How fast can you make these modifications?" "With emergency protocols. 6 hours, maybe 5. "You have 4, she said firmly, "because that's when their deadline ends." Across the planet, humanity prepared for war. Space stations armed themselves. Civilian ships rushed back to Earth. The old rivals, America, China, Russia, and others, united against a common enemy. In orbit, Earth's defensive fleet took position. They had 50 ships, small compared to the alien vessels, but each one carried John Kelly's modified weapons. Lisa commanded from the lead ship, the Star Defender. 3 minutes to deadline, Amy White announced. The command crew sat in tense silence. The alien voice boomed again. "Your time is up. Prepare for." "This is Commander Lisa Martinez of Earth," she interrupted. "We decline your offer to surrender. This is our home. If you want it, you'll have to fight for it." The alien response came in the form of energy beams that lit up space like new suns. The battle for Earth had begun. "All ships, execute Pattern Delta," Lisa ordered. The Earth fleet split into smaller groups, moving in ways the aliens didn't expect. Human ships were smaller and more agile, dancing between the massive alien vessels. "Kelly's modifications are working," someone shouted. Where the modified pulse cannons hit, alien shields flickered and failed. The first Drachnid ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up Jupiter's clouds. Then another fell. The aliens had superior technology, but they had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt and overcome. They're pulling back, Amy reported, disbelief in her voice. 3 ships destroyed. The others are retreating. A cheer went up in the command center, but Lisa knew better. This was just the first battle, she said quietly. They'll be back, and next time they'll be ready for our tricks. The next few days were filled with preparation. Earth knew it had gained only a brief respite. John Kelly worked with scientists worldwide to improve their weapons. Space stations were fortified. New ships were rushed into production. Lisa spent countless hours studying the battle recordings, learning everything she could about how the Drachnids fought. They were powerful but rigid, following strict patterns. Humanity would need to be smarter, more creative, and more unpredictable to survive. 1 week after the first battle, long-range sensors detected something new. But this time, it wasn't the Drachnids. A different alien ship approached Earth, its design completely different from the Empire's vessels. They're broadcasting a message, Amy reported. Universal Translator is working on it. A gentle voice filled the command center. People of Earth, we are the Aetherians. We too fight the Drachnid Empire. We have watched your battle, and we bring an offer of alliance. You are not alone in this war. Lisa looked at the image of the alien ship, a slight smile forming on her face. Perhaps humanity had more friends out there than they knew. The first battle was over, but the real war was just beginning. Earth had proven itself stronger than the Drachnids expected, and now they had found allies. But everyone knew the Empire would return with greater forces and new tactics. As she prepared for the challenges ahead, Lisa thought about how much had changed in just a few days. Humanity had faced its first alien threat and survived. They had shown the galaxy that Earth wouldn't go down without a fight. The next time the Drachnids came, Earth would be ready. And with their new allies, the odds didn't seem quite so impossible anymore. In his lab, John Kelly was already working on new weapons. In training centers worldwide, soldiers learned from the first battle. In shipyards, new vessels took shape. Humanity had tasted victory, and they wanted more. The war for survival had just begun, but Earth had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Never underestimate humans in a fight for their home. The Aetherian ship hung in Earth's orbit like a delicate crystal sculpture, its transparent surfaces catching the sunlight in rainbow patterns. Commander Lisa Martinez stood in the diplomatic chamber aboard the Star Defender, waiting for her first face-to-face meeting with their new allies. Susan Wright, Earth's chief diplomatic officer, adjusted her uniform one last time. "Remember," she said quietly, "the translator says they're very formal. We need to be respectful but confident." The chamber doors slid open with a soft hiss. The Aetherian delegates floated in, literally floated, their bodies surrounded by a soft blue glow. They looked almost human, except for their silvery skin and large, almond-shaped eyes that shifted colors like opals. "Greetings, warriors of Earth," the lead Aetherian said, their voice melodic and gentle. "I am first speaker Lyra. We have watched your battle against the Drachnid Empire with great interest." Lisa stepped forward. "Thank you for coming. I'm Commander Martinez, and this is Diplomatic Officer Wright. We're honored to meet you." "The honor is ours," Lyra responded. Few species have ever survived their first encounter with the Drachnids. Fewer still have achieved victory. You have impressed many in the galaxy. Over the next few hours, they learned more about the wider galaxy than humanity had discovered in centuries of looking at the stars. The Drachnid Empire had been expanding for thousands of years, crushing or enslaving dozens of civilizations. "There are 3 other major species fighting the Empire," Lyra explained, showing a holographic map of the galaxy. "The Aetherian Confederation. That's us. The Krillin Republic, a warrior race who were once part of the Empire but rebelled. And the Nexus Collective, masters of technology." Susan took careful notes as Lyra spoke. "And you want to form an alliance with Earth?" "Yes. Each of our species has different strengths. The Drachnids have always won because they keep us divided. Together, we might have a chance." The next few weeks were a blur of diplomatic meetings and military planning. Earth's leaders met with representatives from all three alien civilizations. Despite their differences, they found common ground in their desire to stop the Drachnid Empire. John Kelly worked closely with Nexos engineers, combining their advanced technology with human innovation. "Their tech is amazing," he told Lisa during a break, "but they think too linearly. When I showed them how we modified the pulse cannons, they couldn't believe we'd thought of it." The Krillin were different. Huge, reptilian warriors with natural armor, they respected strength above all. When they saw recordings of Earth's battle tactics, they pounded their chest plates in approval. "Humans fight like Krillin," their war chief declared. "Small but fierce, clever but brave. We will be proud to battle beside you." But it was the Etherians who proved most interesting. Their peaceful appearance hid incredible mental powers. They could communicate across vast distances and even sense the movements of enemy ships through space itself. Susan Wright spent long hours negotiating the details of the alliance. Each species had its own needs and concerns. The Krillin wanted immediate action. The Nexos insisted on sharing technology equally. The Etherians worried about protecting civilian worlds. "It's like herding cats," Susan told Lisa one evening. "But we're making progress. The Drachnids won't expect us to work together. That's our advantage." They named their new alliance the Galactic Defense Coalition. Each species contributed what they did best: Etherian intelligence gathering, Krillin military might, Nexus technology, and human tactical innovation. The first joint training exercises were challenging. Different species had different ways of fighting, different ideas about strategy. But they learned from each other. Human ships became faster with Nexos engines. Krillin warriors learned Earth's guerrilla tactics. Etherian warnings combined with human flexibility created new battle strategies. 1 month after the alliance formed, they got their first real test. A Drachnid fleet attacked a Nexos mining colony. The coalition responded together. Lisa commanded the joint fleet from the Star Defender, now upgraded with alien technology. "All ships, remember the drills," she said as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. "Fight smart. Fight together." The battle that followed showed the galaxy something new. Human ships darted between larger Krillin vessels, drawing enemy fire. Etherian sensors guided their attacks with perfect precision. Nexus weapons, modified by human engineers, punched through Drachnid shields. "They're retreating." Amy White called out from her communications station. 3 Drachnid ships destroyed, no coalition losses. The cheer that went up came in 4 different languages, but the feeling behind it was the same. They had won their first battle as allies. After the battle, the coalition leaders met to discuss their success. The Krillin war chief laughed, a sound like rolling thunder. "The Empire grows weak. They do not understand unity." "This is just the beginning," Lyra said softly. "The Drachnids will adapt. We must be ready." Lisa looked around the room at her alien allies. A few months ago, humanity didn't even know alien life existed. Now they were planning strategy with 3 different species. "We'll be ready," she said firmly. "Each of us fought alone for years without success. Together, we can win this war." As the meeting ended, Susan pulled Lisa aside. "The alliance is working better than we hoped. The other species respect us, not just for our fighting skills, but for our ability to bring people together." Lisa nodded. Earth had found its place in the galaxy. They weren't the most advanced or the strongest, but they had something special. Humans could adapt, improvise, and help others work together. In his lab, John Kelly was already working with a team of human and alien scientists on new weapons. In space, mixed crews trained together on patrol missions. On Earth, people looked up at the stars with new hope. The war was far from over, but they weren't fighting alone anymore. Humanity had gone from fighting for survival to helping lead an alliance that could change the galaxy. As Lisa looked out at the fleet of mixed ships orbiting Earth, she smiled. The Drachnid Empire had made a mistake when they attacked Earth. They hadn't just gained an enemy. They had helped create a coalition that would end their reign of terror. The real question was, what would they do next? Chief Strategic Officer William Carter stood before the holographic display, pointing out key positions to the gathered coalition commanders. The massive operation they had planned, codenamed Starburst, was about to begin. "The Drachnids expect us to stay defensive," he explained, his voice steady and confident. "Instead, we're going to hit them where they least expect it, right at the heart of their supply lines in the Proxima Centauri system." Commander Lisa Martinez watched the alien leaders' reactions. The Krillin warriors growled in approval, while the Aetherian representatives glowed brighter with excitement. The Nexus representatives mechanicalized weird as they analyzed the battle plan. "It's risky," said Technical Officer Mary Peterson, who had spent months adapting human AI systems to work with alien technology. "But the simulations show a 67% chance of success. That's better odds than we usually get." The Coalition fleet gathered near Saturn, hidden from Drachnid sensors by Aetherian mind shields. It was the largest combined fleet ever assembled. Over 200 ships from all 4 species working together. Lisa walked through the corridors of the Star Defender, now barely recognizable after its alien upgrades. Human crew members worked alongside their alien allies, each bringing their own strengths to the mission. "All ships report ready," Amy White announced from her communications station. "The Drachnids still haven't detected us." "Begin Operation Starburst," Lisa ordered. "May fortune favor the bold." The fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel, using a new system that combined Nexus technology with human computing. They emerged near Proxima Centauri in perfect formation, catching the Drachnid supply fleet completely by surprise. "Attack pattern Delta 7, William called out. The coalition ships split into smaller groups, each one a mix of different species vessels. Human ships darted forward, drawing enemy fire. Krillin warships followed, their heavy weapons blazing. Nexus vessels provided technical support, while Aetherian ships coordinated the assault. The Drachnid commander's voice boomed across space. "What is this madness? Different species do not work together." "Times change," Lisa responded calmly. "Fire main weapons." Mary's modified AI systems calculated perfect firing solutions. Weapons designed by 4 different species struck the Drachnid ships simultaneously. Shields that could stop one type of attack crumbled under the combined assault. The battle raged for hours. The Drachnids fought back fiercely, their massive ships trying to overwhelm the coalition fleet with brute force. But they couldn't match the coordination and flexibility of the Allied forces. "Their flagship is vulnerable," called out a Krillin captain. The human strategy worked. Lisa watched as their combined fleet surrounded the Drachnid command ship. "All vessels, concentrate fire on their main reactor." The explosion lit up the Proxima Centauri system like a new star. As the light faded, the remaining Drachnid ships retreated in disarray. "Victory," roared the Krillin war chief. "The Empire bleeds." But Lisa knew their work wasn't done. "Secure the system," she ordered. "The Drachnids will try to retake it. We need to fortify our position." The coalition forces worked quickly to establish a permanent presence in the system. Human engineers worked with Nexus technicians to build defensive stations. Krillin warriors patrolled the space lanes, while Aetherian sensors watched for enemy movement. William Carter gathered the coalition commanders for a tactical review. "This victory changes everything," he explained. "We've cut off their main supply route to this sector. For the first time, we've taken and held Drachnid territory." In her laboratory aboard the Star Defender, Mary Peterson studied the data from the battle. The AI systems had performed better than expected, learning and adapting during the fight. She began working on improvements, combining ideas from all 4 species. "The Drachnids don't understand what they're facing," she told Lisa during a briefing. "They think in terms of pure power. They can't grasp how different species can work together, make each other stronger." News of the victory spread quickly through coalition space. On Earth, people celebrated their first major offensive success. The other species' homeworlds also rejoiced, seeing hope for the first time in generations. But Lisa kept her focus on the challenges ahead. She met with Lyra, the Aetherian first speaker, to plan their next moves. The Empire will respond with everything they have, Lyra warned. They cannot allow this defeat to stand. Let them come, Lisa replied. Every time they face us, we learn more about how to beat them. And now we have something they don't. True allies. The Coalition began upgrading their entire fleet with the lessons learned from the battle. Human tactical innovations were combined with Krillin warrior spirit, Nexus technology, and Aetherian coordination. We're creating something new, William told the War Council. Not just an alliance, but a whole new way of fighting. The Drachnids have never seen anything like it. In the weeks that followed, more victories came. Smaller battles tested new tactics and technologies. The Coalition grew stronger while the Empire struggled to adapt. Mary's AI systems got better at predicting Drachnid movements. They're creatures of habit, she explained. Once you understand their patterns, you can stay one step ahead. Lisa spent long hours studying battle reports and planning future operations. The victory at Proxima Centauri had proven their strategy worked, but she knew harder fights lay ahead. The Empire still has vast resources, she reminded her officers. We've won a battle, not the war. Stay focused. But even she had to admit that things had changed. The Coalition wasn't just surviving anymore. They were winning. Humanity had helped turn the tide of a galactic war. As she looked out at the captured system, now defended by ships from 4 different species working as one, Lisa felt a surge of pride. Earth had come a long way from that first desperate battle against the Drachnids. The next phase of Operation Starburst was already being planned. The Coalition had tasted victory, and they wanted more. The stars seemed brighter somehow, full of promise instead of threat. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was helping to change it. The war was far from over, but now everyone knew it could be won. Dr. Catherine Powell stared at her laboratory screen in disbelief. She ran the tests again, but the results stayed the same. After months of studying how different species reacted to space combat conditions, she had discovered something extraordinary about humans. Commander Martinez, you need to see this, she called over the ship's communication system. It's about why we've been surviving battles that should have killed us. When Lisa arrived at the lab, Catherine pointed to the genetic comparisons on her screen. Look at how human DNA repairs itself after radiation exposure. We're 3 times more resistant than the Drachnids, and twice as adaptive as our allies. What does this mean for the war? Lisa asked, leaning closer to study the data. It means we can go places and survive conditions that other species can't, even our allies. More importantly, if we combine this with alien technology, Catherine's eyes sparkled with excitement. News of the discovery spread quickly through the Coalition fleet. The Nexus scientists were particularly interested, their mechanical eyes whirring as they analyzed the human genetic data. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Paul Anderson was leading a scouting mission at the edge of known space. His small ship, equipped with the latest stealth technology from all 4 allied species, picked up strange energy readings from the Orion Nebula. This can't be right, he muttered, checking his instruments again. Base, are you seeing these readings? The massive energy signature could only mean one thing, a hidden Drachnid base. But this one was different. It was bigger than anything they'd seen before. Back on the Star Defender, Lisa called an emergency meeting of Coalition leaders. Paul's discovery and Catherine's research could change everything. The Drachnids have built something huge in the Orion Nebula, she explained, showing the sensor data. The radiation levels there are off the charts. That's probably why they chose it. They thought no one could survive getting close enough to find it. But humans can, Catherine added. With some protective gear and our natural resistance, we could get close enough to gather intel. The Krillin war chief slammed his fist on the table in approval. Yes, let the humans show their strength. The Aetherian representatives glowed with concern. "The risk is still very high," Lyra warned. "Even with human adaptability, such radiation exposure is dangerous." "We'll volunteer," Paul said firmly. "My team can handle it." Over the next week, Catherine worked with Nexos engineers to create special suits that would enhance human radiation resistance. They combined human biology with alien technology in ways never tried before. "Remember," she told Paul's team as they suited up, "these suits amplify your natural abilities. You'll be able to take more radiation than any other species, but don't push it too far." Paul's team launched in their modified scout ship, using Aetherian mind shields to hide from Drachnid sensors. As they approached the nebula, the radiation warnings began blaring. "Hull radiation increasing," reported Sarah Foster, Paul's second-in-command. "But the suits are holding." They pushed deeper into the glowing gases of the nebula. Slowly, the massive Drachnid structure came into view. It was a shipyard, bigger than anything the Coalition had ever seen. "They're building something," Paul whispered, his voice filled with awe and fear. "Something huge." The scout ship's cameras captured everything. The size of the facility, the new types of weapons being installed, the number of ships under construction. Even through the radiation haze, they could see this was a game-changer. "Fall back," Paul ordered as their radiation exposure approached dangerous levels. "We've seen enough." When they returned to the fleet, their information caused an uproar. The Drachnids were building a superweapon, something that could turn the tide of the war back in their favor. But the Coalition had advantages of their own now. Catherine's research team worked around the clock, finding new ways to use human biological advantages. They created hybrid technologies that only humans could use effectively. "We're not just fighting them anymore," she explained to Lisa. "We're outthinking them, outvolving them." The Coalition began preparing for their biggest operation yet. They would have to strike the Nebula facility before the Drachnids could finish their superweapon, and humans would have to lead the way. "Our ships will go in first," Lisa told the War Council. "We'll clear a path through the radiation zone. Then the combined fleet can follow." The Krillin loved the plan's boldness. The Nexos appreciated its technical elegance. The Aetherians provided vital intelligence about Drachnid patrol patterns. In his quarters, Paul studied the nebula maps, planning the attack route. The discovery had earned him a promotion, but he felt the weight of responsibility heavily. Catherine continued refining the protective suits, working with both human and alien scientists. Each improvement pushed the boundaries of what was possible when different species worked together. "Humans are remarkable," Lyra told Lisa during a private meeting. "You don't just survive, you thrive on challenges. You take disadvantages and turn them into strengths." Lisa watched the fleet preparations from the Star Defender's bridge. Their ships were now a perfect blend of human and alien technology. Their crews worked together seamlessly, each species contributing their unique abilities. The Drachnids had thought the radiation-filled nebula would protect their secret. Instead, it had revealed humanity's hidden strength. Now that strength would help the Coalition strike a decisive blow. As the final battle plans were drawn up, Lisa felt a mix of pride and concern. They had come so far since that first desperate defense of Earth. Humans had proven themselves not just as fighters, but as innovators and leaders. The next few days would determine the fate of the galaxy. But thanks to Catherine's discovery and Paul's bravery, they had a real chance of victory. The war was about to enter its final phase, and humanity was ready to lead the way. The combined Coalition fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel near the Drachnid homeworld. After months of planning and preparation following the discovery of their secret base, the final battle was about to begin. Commander Lisa Martinez stood on the bridge of the Star Defender, now the flagship of the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. Ships from all 4 allied species stretched out before her, their weapons ready. "All ships report combat ready," Amy White announced from her station. "Human strike teams are in position." Elizabeth Morgan, leader of the Special Forces team, checked her hybrid combat suit one last time. Her team would play a crucial role in today's battle, infiltrating the Drachnid command center while the fleet engaged their defenses. The Drachnids think their homeworld is impregnable. Lisa's voice came through the fleet-wide communication system. Today we prove them wrong. For Earth, for all our allies, for freedom. The battle began with a brilliant display of coordinated attack patterns. Human ships led the charge through the dense defensive lines, their enhanced radiation shields glowing as they absorbed enemy fire. Pattern Omega-7, Lisa commanded. The Coalition fleet moved as one, executing the complex maneuver they had practiced countless times. Krillin warships provided heavy fire support, while Nexus vessels deployed their advanced electronic warfare systems. The Drachnid defenders were caught off guard by the perfect coordination between different species. Their rigid battle doctrine had no answer for the Coalition's fluid tactics. On the surface of the Drachnid homeworld, Elizabeth's team moved through the shadows of massive alien structures. Dr. Catherine Powell's latest improvements to their combat suits made them nearly invisible to Drachnid sensors. Target in sight, Elizabeth whispered into her comm unit, moving to breach point Alpha. Above them, the space battle rage. The Star Defender's weapons blazed as Lisa directed the fleet's movements. Years of fighting together had made the Coalition forces unstoppable. Their outer defenses are failing, reported William Carter from his tactical station. The combined attack is working. In the command center, the Drachnid Supreme Commander watched in disbelief as his defenses crumbled. Impossible. Different species cannot work together this well. Elizabeth's team reached the command center's outer wall. Using tools designed by human engineers and enhanced by alien technology, they cut through the supposedly impenetrable barrier. "We're in," she reported, moving to disable their main defense grid. The battle in space reached its peak intensity. Coalition ships pressed their advantage, pushing deeper into Drachnid territory. Lisa coordinated the attack from the Star Defender, making split-second decisions that kept their forces one step ahead. "All ships, concentrate fire on their flagship," she ordered. "Don't let them regroup." Inside the command center, Elizabeth's team fought their way through surprised Drachnid guards. Their hybrid weapons, combining human ingenuity with alien power, proved devastatingly effective. "Defense control rooms secured," Elizabeth announced, shutting down their planetary shields. The moment the shields fell, the Coalition fleet struck. Weapons from 4 different species hit the Drachnid's key military installations simultaneously. Centuries of Imperial might began to crumble. "Supreme Commander," Lisa's voice echoed through every communication channel on the Drachnid homeworld. "Your empire is finished. Surrender now and spare your people more suffering." For long moments, silence filled the communication channels. Then, slowly, Drachnid ships began powering down their weapons. The Supreme Commander's voice, no longer filled with arrogance, responded, "We surrender." A cheer went up throughout the Coalition fleet. Ships from all 4 species flashed their running lights in celebration. After generations of tyranny, the Drachnid Empire had fallen. Elizabeth's team secured the command center, while Coalition forces landed to accept the formal surrender. The Drachnid leaders, seeing their defenses breached and their capital exposed, had no choice but to accept defeat. "This victory belongs to all of us," Lisa announced to the assembled Coalition forces. "Every species brought their strengths. Together, we accomplished what none of us could do alone." In the days that followed, the Coalition began the complicated process of helping the galaxy transition to peace. The Drachnids would be contained but not destroyed. Humanity had insisted on showing mercy to their defeated enemies. On Earth, celebrations lasted for days. Humanity had not only survived its first contact with alien life, but had helped lead an alliance to victory in a galactic war. "What happens now?" Elizabeth asked Lisa during the victory ceremony on the Drachnid homeworld. "Now we build something new," Lisa replied. "A galaxy where different species work together instead of fighting." The Drachnids thought diversity was weakness. "We proved it's our greatest strength." The Coalition transformed into a new galactic council, with all species, even the reformed drachnids, having a voice. Earth took its place as a respected member of the galactic community. Dr. Catherine Powell's research into combining human and alien capabilities continued, now focused on peaceful applications. The same adaptability that had helped humanity survive the war would help them thrive in peace. Looking out at the stars from the Star Defender's observation deck, Lisa reflected on how far they had come. From a single planet defending itself against alien invaders, humanity had grown into a leader of the galactic community. Ready to head home? Amy asked, joining her at the window. Yes, Lisa smiled. But something tells me this is just the beginning of humanity's adventures among the stars. The war was over, but humanity's role in the galaxy was just beginning. They had proven themselves not just as warriors, but as leaders who could bring different species together for a common cause. As the Star Defender turned toward Earth, Lisa knew the future held endless possibilities. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity had helped change it for the better. The stars seemed brighter now, full of promise instead of threat. And somewhere out there, new adventures waited for humanity and their allies to find them.